takes is one steady heart in a world that's turning. Shine a light and pierce the dark and keep the candle burning. Keep the candle burning, yeah. When you're down and you're discouraged, when the storm clouds dim your view, you gotta gather up the courage. Your inner power is gonna see you through. Let me tell you now, when you're walking in the dead of night, when your soul is churning, when your hope seems out of sight, just keep the candle burning. All it takes is one steady heart in a world that's turning. Shine your light and pierce the dark and keep the candle burning. Keep the candle burning, yeah. One ray of light's enough to break through. Follow the path love will take you. Believe we will do what we must do. Together we're stronger, you know it's true. When you're walking in the dead of night, when your soul is churning, when your hope seems out of sight, just keep the candle burning. All it takes is one steady heart in a world that's turning. Shine your light and pierce the dark and keep the candle burning. When you're walking in the dead of night, when your soul is churning, when your hope seems out of sight, just keep the candle burning. All it takes is one steady heart in a world that's turning. Shine your light and pierce the dark and keep the candle burning. Keep the candle burning. Keep the candle burning. Keep the candle burning.
All right. Yes, it was lovely. I love that song. I love the harmonic structure of it and everything. It's so lovely. Good morning and welcome to our Sunday morning celebration. We are a spiritual community here to celebrate love. I found this quote by Charles Fillmore that I think speaks to what's happening right here and right now. He wrote this: "The true church is not made of creeds and forms, nor is it contained in walls of wood and stone. The heart of man is its temple, and the spirit of truth is the one guide into all truth." And that is what we are here to celebrate today, the spiritual truth. So let's work together to spread the love by knowing we are love. Let us celebrate the good by knowing we are good. And let's celebrate the truth by knowing we are truth. Be the beacon of light. And you know what? Get up and dance. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Hey, 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 hey. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Hey, 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 hey. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Yes, indeed. So, good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to Unity of Tucson. I'm Reverend Jonathan Zenz, the senior minister here at this very lively place that we call our spiritual home. We are a spiritual community here to teach practical tools for a better life. I believe that those tools are rooted in spiritual practice, and so that is what I'm here to teach the world, to help us all understand that through the engagement of spiritual practice, our life just gets better. It does. That's what I've experienced anyway. It is my belief that we can precipitate our own spiritual evolution through the engagement of spiritual practice. Oh, you know what I was going to say too? I put out a call last week related to the first song, because we've been running that montage of faces, those still, and I thought, well, maybe we should try something else. So I don't know if you saw the email that came out last week. In the email, what I have offered is, let's send in little videos of people dancing to the first song or waving, whatever you're comfortable with. Not everybody's comfortable with dancing. Right? But, you know, send a 3 to 5 second video of you waving. We'll make sure that the link gets put out into the video and into an email. And it's real easy to create that video and upload it to us, and we'll put it right in. Anyway, I just wanted to remember that, right? Let's just take a moment and begin with our understanding of the words that are written as our mission statement here at Unity of Tucson. Let's say this together. Within the principles of a unity, we are a ministry of love, inspiration, learning, wholeness, acceptance, and joy that empowers all people to embrace their divine nature. Today, I choose to embrace my divine nature. The mission is the practical way to engage a vision. And I believe personal transformation is possible. In fact, it is probable. And our work is to awaken to our magnificence. That's part of my vision. Everything we do, everything I offer is in service to this idea, to that vision in mind. The tenets of this vision and ministry are simple, and they are as easy as we decide for them to be. And they are: love only, forgive everything, remember who you are. And in remembering who we are, I know a truth about you. And it is that you are love, you are light, you are life, you are magnificent. I'm going to encourage you to utilize the chat in this moment to acknowledge the community that are watching with you. Just reach out, say hello, let everyone who's watching with you know their magnificence, and utilize your own unique way of expressing your understanding of others' magnificence as you type in some chat messages. Remember that this community, we are a family. We are a virtual family at the moment. And they are all with you. We're sharing this energy right here and right now. So take a few moments to do that. And I do want to say hello and say, I see you. I know that you are magnificent, those few people who are in the room helping out today. Laura, who's going to help me with the candles in a little bit, I see you, and I know your magnificence. Grateful to have you here. And of course, the magnificence of these beautiful musicians over here. Yeah. As we allow that time to do what it needs to do in service of making those connections, as you make the connection, allow yourself to settle into this moment. Easily allow yourself to move into a time of purposeful contemplation. Whether you call it quieting, meditation, contemplation, consideration, doesn't matter. Allow yourself to simply breathe into this moment. And we will utilize this month's affirmation. And if you choose to do so, it can serve as a mantra during this time. Allow yourself to easily take this idea into mind And as I speak it, I speak in the first person. I invite you to hear yourself say it. Say this affirmation to yourself in your own voice within. The affirmation is this: I take purposeful and loving action in every aspect of my life, no matter what. I take purposeful and loving action in every aspect of my life, no matter what. If you haven't already, and you'd like to, and it's safe and comfortable for you to do so, you can close your eyes, or simply allow them to have an unfocused gaze as you allow yourself to focus in on the breath. The breath is that infinite expression of the circulation of the spiritual. Literally, breath is inspiration. And so with each inhale, imagine you are breathing in love. And with each exhale, sharing that love. I take purposeful and loving action in every aspect of my life, no matter what. I take purposeful and loving action in every aspect of my life, no matter what. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith, and I am grateful every moment, every day. My mind is willing and my heart is open wide. I trust my instincts and let Spirit be my guide. I vow to live a life that's real and true and free, as I continue walking in this mystery. There may be walls, there may be roadblocks in my way, but I can choose to take a higher path each day. And now I know that what I thought was safe and sound was only habit and regret that held me down.
I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith, and I am grateful every moment, every day. And I am kinder every moment, every day. And I am peaceful every moment, every day.
I'm going to invite Laura to join me for our ritual of lighting the flames of faith. This ritual that we do every week is to honor the faith traditions, the religious ideologies, and the spiritual paths of the world, with this understanding that with each candle that we light, we are allowing ourselves to recognize that each one of these things is rooted in that divine golden thread of love, which is what we stand for here. Yes. Love only. Yeah. And so, we light a candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light a candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light a candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light a candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light a candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light a candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light a candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the divine will of love as the highest calling. We light a candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light a candle for all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. We light a candle for all those who are as yet unaware of the power and presence of spirit in their lives, and for the space that we are holding for them, and for all faith traditions unnamed in this ceremony. And this final candle we light is a candle which represents the healing of any circumstance that requires divinity to be revealed. For that is the true nature of healing, the revelation of the God energy, the creative source at the core of all creation. And so this is your candle for whatever is in your mind and in your heart that requires the light. Thank you. The candle here to your left, my right, is our peace candle. And we keep this candle consistently illuminated with this in mind, that it represents the consistent illumination of peace in our hearts. And that as we allow that illuminated peace from within to shine from within out to the world, that each and every one of us is a point of peace. And we create peace in this world with that in mind. So let's honor this candle with the prayer for world peace. Let's say this together. Divine love indwells each person and radiates from one to another. harmony is established, and peace begins to reign in the world. I have water this week. On June 12th, 4 years ago, kind of a downer way to introduce this song, but it is the impetus for why this song that I've chosen to sing today is in this world. On June 12th of 2016, 4 years ago, there was a horrific event that happened in Orlando, Florida, and one of the things that I was living in Toronto at the time, and there was this magnificent artist who wrote this song in reaction to that event. And the song came out, and actually I had a choir concert that was scheduled for like 9 days later. I'm talking to the band a little bit now. I had a choir concert that was scheduled for a few days later, and our music director actually took that song, wrote a choral arrangement, we put it together and performed it in our concert. I'm going to let the song speak for itself in this moment, and then I'm going to talk probably a little bit more about it. This is Pulse by Melissa Etheridge.
Everybody's got a pain inside, imaginary wounds they try to hide. How can I hate them when everybody's got a pulse? I dream in a world that wants my soul, that tells me if I hate I can control. But I don't believe it, I cannot conceive it, 'cause everybody's got a pulse. I am human, I am love, and my heart beats with my blood. Love will always win underneath the skin. Everybody's got a pulse. Once again I hang my head to cry. I can't find the reason why they died. We will find an answer blowing in the wind, that everybody's got a pulse. I am human, I am love, and my heart beats with my blood. Love will always win underneath the skin. Everybody's got a pulse. Who you gonna hate now when there's no one left but you? Who you gonna gun down if you can't kill the truth that lives inside of us? It's inside our blood, it's inside our pulse. La 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 la. La 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 la, la 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 la. I am human, I am love, and my heart beats in my blood. Love will always win underneath the skin. Everybody's got a pulse. I am human, I am love, and my heart beats in my blood. Love will always win underneath the skin. Everybody's got a pulse. I am human, I am love, and my heart beats in my blood. Love will always win underneath the skin. Everybody's got a pulse. Underneath the skin, got a pulse. Hands up if you're alive. Hands up if you're alive. Love will always win underneath the skin. Everybody's got a pulse.
Thank you. So it is not my intention to be maudlin by bringing up this event that happened 4 years ago, but I felt like with everything that's happening in the world, this song it kind of has new meaning for me. But I love that it's always going back to, the notion, I am human, I am love. I am human, I am love. I am human, I am love. That is the message that I take from this. Frankly, because I am part of the LGBTQ plus community, the song had a particular impact on me when it came out 4 years ago, and the reason why it was brought into this world. But it is a reminder for me that healing as an act of the expression of divinity. I talk about the healing candle. And I mentioned that the healing candle is representative of the notion that there is God, there is divinity, there is spiritual substance, there is source at the core of everything that exists because nothing else actually exists. And that the creative nature of the divine is always flowing forth. And so every opportunity that we have for healing is the opportunity that we take for the understanding of healing to be the revelation of the divine energy, the revelation of that creative energy at the core of everything. And that, for me, is what art offers. For me, art has always been a healing expression. Art has always been a way that I engage in healing. And so that for me is a healing song. And I'll tell you, every time I sing it, and I've sung it a number of times now over the course of these years, I always get choked up. I just always get choked up in it because it still touches me. And I think that is the power of not feeling like I'm sad about what it is, but understanding that I am choked up and I am touched by the love that is at the core, and that it is love that we are absolutely needing more and more and more and more of now. The expression of that which is at the core of our beingness. I am human. I am love. That is the key for me. This is a fundamental point of my entire ministry. I am human, I am love. I feel like she wrote that song especially for me to utilize just in my ministry in general, right? That I am always out there saying, we get to be the most magnificent beings we can be because we are human, we are love. Now, there are those who are going to say, but are we human, right? Because Desjardins wrote, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. Do you know that? So he wrote that, the French philosopher. It is preceded by him saying, we are not human beings, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And I think it's time that we absolutely step into that even further. Because I actually don't hold to that notion that we are having a human experience any longer. Because if we believe that there is something other than spirit, then we're actually creating separation. We are creating a dualistic concept in our mind, and that is what shows up in our life. So I think it is time that we start absolutely affirming for ourselves that we are spiritual beings having a spiritual experience in the world of form, that is the world of form, that the world of form is a spiritual experience. Why would I prefer that? Why? Because it is true. If I believe that any aspect of being is not spiritual, then I am affirming separation. That's hard sometimes. It's especially hard when I see people utilizing this infinite creative power that ultimately is a power for good and that shows up as good, that we are given the use of this power as a great gift because we are the power. We can utilize this power for constructive purposes and for destructive purposes, and I see it used far too frequently for destructive purposes. Which is why I stand up here every single week and I say, you know what? Let us all take to heart the notion that we are love. Let us begin to more effectively recognize that we are love always, more and more and more, and that we express that love more magnificently in every moment, because that is the capacity that we have to express more and more love. I choose not to affirm separation. I choose to affirm that I am a spiritual being right here, right now, living a spiritual experience in a spiritual universe. There is absolutely no separation. To know who I am means, you ready? Because this is what nobody ever wants to hear. To know who I am means that I am solely responsible for my beingness, for the way I show up in the world. People so frequently want to put the responsibility on others for the things that show up in their lives. But if we absolutely choose to take responsibility for the things that show up in our lives, life gets better. To live in responsibility for my own being, for my own beingness in the world, is the key to freedom in my experience of life. Deepening into spiritual wholeness and first, it starts as an intellectual exercise for so many of us. To deepen into spiritual wholeness, first intellectually, and then allowing ourselves to be awash and embodied in that heart space, that spiritual wholeness is who and what I am, that becomes the answer in knowing my inherent connectedness with all that is. And I less and less see the world in terms of separation. And it seems to me that this is the evolution, the spiritual evolution that I keep talking about. Every week I say, my goal in ministry is to lead us all to the path of engaging our own spiritual evolution, of precipitating our own spiritual evolution. Because spiritual evolution is the thing that leads us into the physical evolution of our beingness. To know who I am. To know who I am is to know that I am infinitely connected with all creation. Everything. Whether I perceive it as living matter or not. In my experience, I used to, when I was in Toronto, there was a joke that started popping up, because every week I would go, well, it's a little far away here, but the back wall where I would stand on the platform there was literally right behind me. I had a little postage stamp that I would do my service on. And I would go up and I would slap the wall and would say, this wall is as much God as I am. I am as much God as this wall is, because there's no separation. And so they eventually did this little printout of a happy face and they put it up on the wall so it would remind me and everyone else that the wall is God, that the wall is that infinite divine spiritual source, that it is absolutely, everything is part of this infinite connectedness. All creation. The piano, I love this piano. The candles, everything. The rug, the flags, all of it. The nature of this infinite spiritual source is to flow freely. That is its nature, to flow freely, uninhibited by concerns or considerations of separateness. We are the ones who bring our concerns and considerations for separateness and of separateness to the experience of our lives. And you know what happens? We experience separateness. We create that in our mind, and it shows up in our experience. And so what is the plan that we're going to take on to allow ourselves to let go of that? Stop thinking in terms of separateness. Sounds simple, but is it easy? After a lifetime of being brought up with concepts of division, it can be challenging. Charles Fillmore wrote, "Imagination gives the man the ability to project himself through time and space and rise above all limitations." And so my concept of separateness in any way is just an idea of limitation that I have taken into my experience. And I have utilized my imagination by perhaps listening to things outside the self, by stepping away from my innate intuition and listening to things outside the self that say you are separate. The perception of limitation creates the experience of limitation. The principle that we teach doesn't get any simpler than that. And that's really, essentially the principle we teach, that everything is one. We are one. Unity, the name of the organization, the name of the church, the name of the spiritual center. Unity is basically saying we are one. Our work is to expand the imagination, to break down the mental constructs in any way that tell us we are limited. And you know what? It's a lifelong journey. There is no destination we will ever arrive at because we're constantly being bombarded by these ideas of limitation. And our work is to say, I see you. I see this notion of limitation, and I choose now to know something else. I can use my mind to know something else. And in knowing that something else, I open myself up to the infinite experience and expression of life. We have the gift of imagination, the gift of intuition, and those things help us rise above our limiting beliefs. But here's the question that I have now. Where does that come from? Have you ever really given thought about that? We talk about it in New Thought spiritual centers and churches all over. We talk about the notion of the imagination and intuition and, blah, blah, blah. It helps us rise above. But where does that come from? Why do we have the capacity for thinking, to consider something beyond the self? Where does that come from? Because the wall, or the piano, whatever, which is as much God as I am, doesn't seem to have that same capacity. So why has it been gifted to us in our human spiritual expression? I can only reason for myself that it is because it is necessary in revealing the true identity at the core of each and every one of us. There is a concept that was taught by Thomas Troward, who was one of the, Thomas Troward was the first president of the International New Thought Alliance. If you don't know who Thomas Troward is, I can teach a class. He was around at the end of the 19th century. He was a judge, actually, a British judge in India, who in his retirement really studied metaphysics, and he really proliferated this concept of new thought. He very famously gave lectures on metaphysics and new thought, and he came up with this concept of what he called the 5 kingdoms of consciousness. The 5 kingdoms of consciousness are the mineral kingdom, which is you determine the kingdoms of consciousness by what he called the degree of livingness, which is what is the degree of life force that is expressing through these aspects of the divine, which is showing up in form. So there's the mineral kingdom, the plant kingdom, a higher degree of livingness, the animal kingdom, a higher degree of livingness, the human kingdom, a higher degree of livingness, and the divine kingdom, which is, in his estimation, the highest level of conscious awareness. And that our work is to evolve ourselves through our own spiritual work to arrive at the divine kingdom. That is what Jesus taught. That is what Muhammad taught. That is what Buddha taught. They were all experiencing the divine kingdom and allowing their mystic concepts of life to flow through in such a way that they changed the world. We are no different from any one of them, not a single one of us. We are not limited in any way, except to the degree that we allow ourselves to live in limitation consciously. It was Galileo who said or wrote, of course, he didn't write it in English, so this is a translation. He wrote, "I do not feel obliged to believe that the same God who has endowed us with sense, reason, and intellect has intended us to forego their use." So in what way are you allowing yourself to utilize your sense, your reason, and your intellect to arrive at a higher spiritual understanding? The infinite has also endowed us with the capacity to imagine ourselves as greater than our limits. Which is what really brings me to my simple point today. Who do you think you are? Now, I phrase that as a question. And then I will utilize it in another way that the grammar will probably be confusing. But think of it this way. Who do you think, comma, you are? As a statement. Who do you think? You are that. You are that thing that you think. You are the ideas that are flowing forth by means of your use of this infinite creative mind. Who do you think? You are that. Because if I ask the question, who do you think you are? Whatever comes up for you in that moment, you're right. You are absolutely right that that is who you are, to the degree that you accept it as the truth of your being. Now, if you've been a part of Unity or any other New Thought community for any length of time, you may be thinking, yes, I know this already. But it is fundamental. It is perhaps the most fundamental part of the teaching. It is the thing that acknowledges the power that we have to recreate our lives. And so I believe it is so fundamental, it always bears repeating. And in fact, the trick is I have to find 52 new ways of saying the exact same thing every single week. Finding some way of making it fresh and exciting and new and talking about it with this angle or that angle. I'm always saying the same thing. I am here to remind you of your magnificence. That's all I'm ever talking about, is your magnificence, that thing which is within you, that magnificent creative energy at the core. You are magnificent. And you know what? In light of all the world events, and especially in a time that we are experiencing like this right here and right now, we can sometimes lose sight of that foundational truth. And so we return here for the reminder. Now, the here that I'm talking about is not necessarily the physical space. It is our minds. It is the conduit for consciousness to make itself known. The greatest tool we have for refuge is our consciousness, and it means nothing if we don't use it. So in what way are you stepping up and utilizing your consciousness today? Who do you think is the point of power? Who do you think is the place where change begins? Who do you think is responsible to address what is happening in the world right now? Who do you think? You are. Not everybody wants to hear that. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that you need to be out there protesting. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that it is up to each and every one of us, but of course, if that's what you want to do, totally legitimate as well. But it is up to each and every one of us to be driven and to be led by the core of our consciousness, which I choose to be rooted in love. To do these things, to engage in being the change, means that your work begins in mind. Do the work in mind to deepen into that sense of common unity. And from there, let your actions be impelled by the consciousness. I talk about prayer and the notion of prayer, the power of affirmative prayer. I believe prayer is one of the most effective tools we have at our disposal for changing the world. And then there will be people who say, yeah, but I hear all the time when all these things happen in the world, they say thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers. And I say, that's great. And I believe that thoughts and prayers will actually change the world. But here's the thing. So many prayers are left empty that they do not impel action. My notion is that effective prayer is that which impels action in the world. To pray and to not be motivated into activity is a fruitless use of mind. actively participate. That is the power that we have. When we pray, we must be impelled to take action. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the language differences, ready, between religious science, which was my background, and unity, which is now the community that I am serving. One of the things that we say, because in religious science, we call affirmative prayer, we use this funny term, I'm just educating everybody, we use this funny term called spiritual mind treatment. And the idea is that it is a clinical approach to treating the mind so that we can impel action in our lives. Spiritual mind treatment. I love utilizing the form and the words affirmative prayer. I know what it means. But what we say is treat and move your feet. Because we like to speak in, the short little quips that seem to make sense, right? Treat and move your feet. But don't move your feet absent the impulsion of the result of that prayer. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you actually take action. If it is not backed by the consciousness, then the action will not do anything. It will not maintain itself. So what are you motivated to do today? What is that which is within you that is looking to be expressed? Theodore Roosevelt said this, do what you can with all that you have right where you are. So if your prayer does not impel you to go out and peacefully protest, and please, I trust that it's not impelling you to go out there and cause destruction. Please don't let it cause destruction. That's just my own personal take on it. But if that is not what is impelled through your use of your consciousness to change the world, that's okay. Do what you can with all that you have right where you are. It will look like something else. It absolutely is valid that it looks like something else. Live every moment. Live every single moment of your life, whether it be public, whether it be personal, whether it be private. Live every moment with love leading the way. Because that is how we change the world. Do you have the willingness, do you have the tenacity to commit to doing this? That willingness, that tenacity at the core, that willingness and tenacity to be the best version of yourself and support others to do so as well, that is a rebellious act these days. You are a spirit in rebellion. Step up and step forth. You are human. You are love. You are the point of power. You are the place where change begins. You are responsible for the change you seek. So go out today. Choose to lead with love. And that is the homework for the week. To lead with love in every activity of your life. Now, I actually haven't done this since I've been here at Unity. This is my third month already. It's so strange, 3 months in, and we're still virtual. But one of the things that I really loved to do to help make this practical is to give homework every week. And so then, I would give homework, and there would be groans, oh, I have to actually do work. Well, the point is, why are you here if you're not willing to put it into practice? And so putting it into practice means, let's do the work in the world. And so my homework for you this week, I'm going to try and make it as simple as possible, is to lead with love in every activity, in every action. Let yourself be reminded that your work is to lead with love. And if you find yourself, as I did a few days ago, and I'm going to tell you, ministers, sometimes we fall off our pulpit. Don't put us on a pedestal because we will disappoint you very quickly, most likely. But our work is to get back up and lead with love as quickly as we possibly can. I found myself not leading with love, actually, last week. I don't need to get into the details of the story, but let's just suffice it to say that somebody said, please don't yell at me, to me. It was not one of my finer moments. And so it is my decision here and now to allow myself to lead with love in every activity and to remind myself at all times that that is the power that I have at hand. It is the power that you have at hand. You are the point of power, as I've said. You are, as I've said, the place where that change begins. Be responsible to step into the change you seek. Go, lead with love. Namaste. I'm going to invite you now, as I do each week, to take this moment to reflect on a kernel of truth, some idea that you can walk away with today. Allow yourself to welcome that idea. Let it be fully present in your mind and in your heart right now.
I am dropping down to the truth of who I am. I am dropping down, surrendering in love. I am dropping down to the truth of who I am. I am dropping down, surrendering in love. I am dropping down to the truth of who I am. I am dropping down, surrendering in love, surrendering in love, surrendering in love, surrendering in love.
I'm going to ask that you activate that space of gratitude in your heart and participate in the act of giving today as we move into this time where we offer to the spiritual center, to Unity, that which helps sustain us and allows us to thrive in the world. So whatever it is that you're choosing to offer to Unity today, I'm going to invite you to consider that as an active thing in your mind, for we know that money is God in action. And the activity of giving is an activity of keeping everything, that love, in circulation. And so there are many ways that you can give today. You can go to unitytucson.com and click on the links there to give by debit or credit card. Very easy to do that. You can also phone in your card during our regular office hours, Monday through Thursday from 9 until 5:30. You can also send in a check through the mail. We happily receive in many, many ways. Why do we give? Well, because we do want to be here. And just keep in mind that giving and receiving are the same. It is that infinite circulation. So let's celebrate the gratitude for this offering by reading together our divine givingness statement. Here we go. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I joyously contribute to my spiritual center, knowing that it goes forth to heal, prosper, and bless, and returns to me multiplied abundantly. I thankfully acknowledge God as my source.
I celebrate my abundance today. By giving this gift, I show my faith. As I open my heart, my world becomes a better place. I release all fear as I share gratefully. This love that I give always gives back to me. Knowing my oneness with everything else, I know that all that I give to myself. I celebrate my abundance today. By giving this gift, I show my faith. As I open my heart, my world becomes a better place. I release all fear as I share gratefully. This love that I give always gives back to me. Knowing my oneness with everything else, I know that all that I give to myself. Knowing my oneness with everything else, I know that all that I give to myself.
Here are your announcements.
Good morning, everyone. Here are your Unity of Tucson announcements for Sunday, June 14th, 2020. Is it in your heart to serve Unity of Tucson in a leadership role? A position on the board of directors is open, and we would love to consider you. For information on the requirements and responsibilities, please send an email inquiry to either revjonathan@unitytucson.com or president@unitytucson.com. Bears in the Chairs is happening now. Participate in our annual event to collect new and unwrapped stuffed animals, which we will then donate as a community to Aviva, an agency supporting youth as they transition into foster care. While our activities continue to be virtual, you can drop off a stuffed animal during regular office hours. We will continue to collect stuffed animals until the end of July. As always, don't forget to join us online for midweek spiritual practice, streaming on YouTube and Facebook. Get your midweek pick-me-up and a reminder of your inner truth every Wednesday at 6:00 p.m. Arizona time. Prayer requests are always accepted by sending an email to prayer@unitytucson.com. Don't forget that the activity of requesting what you need is the first step towards healing. The links for all of our virtual offerings can be found at unitytucson.com. Keep an eye out on Facebook and subscribe to YouTube to keep up with everything that's going on. Thank you for being here and sharing your magnificence with us.
Thank you, Darwin, for the announcements. I do want to say and offer my sincere gratitude for everything that went together to make today's virtual service happen. I want to say thank you to Wally and to Don for your technical support and making sure that everything is looking and sounding great. Ready, Freddie. Hey, Freddie. Freddie is here today. I announced that Freddie was our new administrator last week. He's here helping out to ensure that it's all flowing smoothly as well. I want to say thank you to Laura for being here and for helping light the candles and for, holding the consciousness of the room. With love in your heart. Thank you for that. And of course, I want to say thank you to Linda and the band. So grateful for you, Adam and Raphael, for all that you bring to this experience into my life. I, of course, want to say thank you to each and every one of you for making yourself present here, to allow yourself to simply acknowledge that there is love in your heart and to lead with love in everything that you do. As we complete our time here, I'm going to invite you to share with me the prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds me. I am that light. The love of God enfolds me. I am that love. The power of God protects me. I am that power. The presence of God watches over me. I am that presence. Wherever I am, God is. Wherever God is, I am. And so it is. Amen.
Now there is peace on earth, for it has begun with me. Now there is peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we. Now we walk with each other in perfect harmony. Peace grace has begun with me, and this is the moment now. With every breath I take, this is my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Thank you, God, for peace on earth, for it has begun with me. If you think there's nothing new under the sun, if it's possible, it's already been done. If you think the stage has all been set, think again. You ain't seen nothing yet. The sun'll come up with a wave of your hand. You're smack dab in the middle of the promised land. It all turned out just the way that you planned. Believe it, you will see it. If you think you finally made your bed, there ain't nothing down that road ahead. If you think this is as good as it gets, wanna bet? You ain't seen nothing yet. The sun'll come up with the wave of your hand. You're smack dab in the middle of the promised land. It all turned out just the way that you planned. Believe it, you will see it. And you ain't seen nothing. You ain't seen nothing. You ain't seen nothing yet. You ain't seen nothing. You ain't seen nothing. You ain't seen nothing yet. You ain't seen nothing. You ain't seen nothing. You ain't seen nothing yet. You ain't seen nothing. You ain't seen nothing. You ain't seen nothing yet. Make it a magnificent week, everyone.